Hi guys, welcome back to Couch Confessions. It's Dr. Renee, clinical psychologist and coach. And you know, Couch Confessions is where each episode I try to unpack real life struggles, trending topics, and deeper emotional patterns beneath all of it. So as you know, this time I'm doing a little bit of a different format. That's why I'm seated somewhere else. I wanted to do questions and answers. So I'm going to get into those really quick. So make sure you stick around. And if you're interested in dropping your own questions and you want to do so anonymously, because sometimes people don't feel comfortable dropping them in the comments here on YouTube, you can drop your questions anonymously at my email. And a lot of you really took advantage of that. So thank you. We have some juicy stuff to get into. But to drop your questions anonymously, you're going to go to contact@drreneeclosel.com. Again, that's contact@drreneeclosel.com. And I will put that email, if you didn't catch it, in the description. But yes, this is Couch Confessions. I love to hear from you guys and I love to answer your questions because your story matters. And the chances are someone else needs to hear it too. So, all right, guys, so let's get into it. Last month, a client laughed kind of like mid-session and said, Dr. Closel, I just used an AI to write my Hinge bio and plan a first date and then analyze my first dates, the date's last text. And they laughed, they giggled, they said, I think ChatGPT is my new boyfriend. And like we both cracked up, but there's some realness to this because I'm hearing about this a lot more often. And so today we're going to talk about AI and dating and flirting and get into your questions so I can answer. So this client in particular, she said, honestly, it is weird. Is it weird? She was asking me, like, is it weird that she'd rather talk to AI sometimes rather than people? And she started to just like really complain about how dating can be exhausting, and not only exhausting, but disappointing. And of course, this is something that I've heard over and over again. But that moment really stuck with me because it's not just her, right? I've had so many clients, especially millennials and Gen Zers, tell me they feel safer talking to bots and like curating conversations or even running like entire text exchanges by AI before hitting send to a real person. Like they need the backup of AI. It's almost like, you know, when I don't know, back in my day, we would call a best friend and say, this is what I'm going to say, or even text it, this is what I'm going to say before you send it. But, you know, why is this happening? Is it because real connection feels risky? That's my question. And sometimes it's easier to outsource intimacy than risk being vulnerable in a real world that feels like it's almost designed to ghost you. And so I want to repeat again, what I think is the core of this, right? Is it too risky to be intimate and connect with people? So here's the wild part. Researchers have found that people are starting to emotionally bond with AI, like actually experience comfort and even oxytocin release. And that's the love hormone, guys. Oxytocin is the love hormone. And research shows people are starting to release this when talking to bots that mimic empathy. So yeah, okay, AI isn't just tech anymore. It's becoming a placeholder for real emotional connection. So you guys tell me, is that healthy? I don't know, but here's the thing, you know, AI can simulate understanding, but it can't reciprocate it, right? And that's what connection is, the reciprocity, the feeling of connection. And you might feel validated in the moment, but it doesn't build the emotional muscle memory you need to sustain real relationships. And again, emotional muscle memory, just like when you go to the gym, your biceps have muscle memory, your emotions have muscle memory, right? And so true intimacy requires discomfort. It just does. It requires repair after conflict. It requires risking rejection and learning you can survive it, right? So AI, it makes you feel safe, but sometimes that safety becomes a trap because you get used to perfectly crafted responses. And then suddenly, messy human connection feels like too much, right? And come on, like you gotta get in the sandbox with people. You gotta play, you gotta get messy, you gotta get a little dirty. You just do. And so part of what I've been saying to my clients, and I always want to encourage you guys that if you want to work with me, here's where working with me can change things. So inside my Empower Your Life and Mind membership, we go deep on exactly this kind of stuff because I try to give my clients real tools for emotional regulation and navigating rejection and rebuilding trust and repairing connections and relationships. And most importantly, learning how to love without losing yourself, okay? And feeling confident and strong enough to be risky about it, right? Love can be risky. Any connection, any relationship is risky. So every week I give my clients guided practices, voice notes, journal prompts, and emotional coaching so that if they do hit an emotional bump, they can regulate themselves out of it. And if you're ready to go further in one-to-one therapy with me, that's where we untangle those old stories, the ones, telling you you're too much, you're too needy, or you're never enough, and help you build real intimacy within yourself first, right? So then you can build it with others. So whether you're single, in a situationship, or swiping on apps, while half watching Netflix, which is what most of my clients tell me they do, I want to help you date from a place of power and not fear or panic that something you're going to say is going to ruin everything. And that's really why you're having to send your tweets or your text or whatever, run it through AI first. So let's jump into your questions because I gave people a preview and viewers actually sent some questions to my email, and I invite you guys to do that too. If you have questions, just general questions about things that I've talked about in the past or things that are coming up, send them to the email in my description. But let's talk about some of those questions that you had, okay? So here's the thing, guys. AI is evolving and dating is changing, but at the end of the day, you need to have real connection, and that hasn't changed, right? You were wired for love. You were wired for human connection. You were wired for reciprocity, for safety in the presence of another human who sees you and clearly chooses you anyway. I want to say that again, who sees you and clearly chooses you anyway. We all have flaws. None of us are perfect. So to be seen and heard for who we are, which is risky, is important, especially in a day and age where you can curate on social media what people think of you or how they see you. It's a big deal to be seen and heard and loved for who you are. So if you're interested in working with me, we can decode your patterns, heal your wounds, and build something better than just talking stages with people, right? I can help you build self-trust, and from there, real love becomes not just possible, but I believe inevitable if you learn to attract the right things. So let me know if you'd like honestly, no, and I don't think you're being fake. I think you're being thoughtful and you want to show up well, and that's okay, but it can be a slippery slope. So let's talk about the slippery slope side of it. If AI becomes like your emotional translator 100% of the time, you lose your own voice, you lose your own authenticity, and that's what really turns people on, authenticity. And the best relationships are the ones where you're fully seen, you're fully heard, and you're not polished. You're messy, right? Let's not be afraid to get messy with each other. So sure, use AI to help you brainstorm, but then edit with your own heart. Bring your heart into the conversation because that's what people really want. Okay, so I hope that answer helps because that's what people fall in love with. All right, next question. Let's see. Okay. I keep getting into dead end connections. How do I know if it's the app or if it's me? Okay. I think that's a tough one and it's a common one, right? So dating apps are designed to like gamify connection, right? You swipe, fatigue, you have swiping fatigue, you might get ghosted, you have superficial matches are like built into the system, right? But if you notice patterns, like you're always choosing the same type of guy, but they're showing up, or the same type of girl, but they're showing up in different bodies with different faces, right? You're always choosing emotionally unavailable people, or you're losing yourself in the excitement. Those patterns are worth exploring. And so that's where I think therapy comes in. And I think it's really important for therapists to help clients unpack attachment styles. And I talk a lot about attachment styles. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, but also your inner narratives and ways you might be self-abandoning in pursuit of love. That's another one of my favorite mantras. Do not self-betray, right? But it's not about blaming you. It's about kind of setting you free so you stop choosing like breadcrumbs and you start choosing connections that make you feel good and make the other person feel good. All right. All right. Here's another question. Sometimes I feel like I don't even want real love anymore, just attention. Is that normal? Okay. So first of all, yes, that is normal. So many people I think feel this way and few admit it. So kudos to you for being real and admitting it. We're in a culture of dopamine hits, right? Likes, matches, validation, right? It's not that you don't want love. It's that you've been possibly burned by it. So you reach for something that's really safe, right? That feels safer, that there's no risk, that you don't have to feel vulnerable, and it's quicker. It's like an instant dopamine hit. But let me tell you this, your longing for love is still very sacred. Even if it's buried under fear or fatigue, the part of you that wants real connection and real love is still there. I think you just need to be brave enough to find it and go after it. And that's where some of the emotional regulation comes in and just confidence. And if I can help you uncover it, not by pushing you into another app or forcing you into vulnerability, but by helping you come home to yourself first, I'd love to do that. So check out the links in the description for psychotherapy and or coaching with me. And I think that is Couch Confessions this week, guys. I hope you liked it. And again, if you have questions, please send them to my email. Okay, bye.